Hi everyone, let's paint together today. This is beautiful 15 centimeters or 6 inches mandala coral. And actually I planned to do peach, but looks like this will be my next one. This one really bright, so let's start it. So pass already prepared with black paint, and for this one I did choose all paints that I got with name coral on it. You see, it's beautiful ones. This one is a little bit more shiny, so we'll use this for decoration. So let's take this one, really beautiful, and I may use this for like deeper colors. This is pretty similar, sorry, but I need only one from those because they are pretty light, and for such small surface it's not too much place that we can use it. Melon also really nice, but also if you want to do some light pieces you need something lighter, so this one also maybe will be used. These nice 3D drops, fruit cocktail, and this white to create again light dots. And art creation I will use, but Nuvo also producing some of those light ones. So we need to find the center as usual. I'm linking video if you need to any kind of tutorial. And also if you like such videos, you wanna see more, subscribe, please like button available for you. And yes, every 15 degrees lines and every 1 centimeter circles. I already prepared base for this, and obviously this is kind of ritual. You can doing the same again at the beginning, but to be honest it's not too boring for me. I know that I'm preparing marks for my beautiful painting. So yeah, it's ready, and let's start it. And first color I will use, it's a coral blush. We are making central dot. As usual, we can come back a couple of times with the paint on a tool to create bigger dot, and with thin tool you can correct shape a little bit and move paint, so when it's dry out we can place something else on the top, 3 drops or other paint. After that we are making our first row of dots with I did choose white peach, and yeah, I'm moving forward just close to each other but not touching each other as usual, as our regular rule with drops and dots. And you see, I'm not looking at lines yet because it's pretty small, but I did choose tools that a little bit bigger than available for these marks. And yeah, as close as you can, but not touching each other inside of this first circle line. You can be on the top of your first circle line, it really depends on your sizes and dimensions. And don't worry, you can come back later on and put some paint on the top of these dots, making more visible and popping out from the surface. Next one, peach and cream. I did choose from the 3 close enough tones of coral. I did choose peach and cream, and I was going to do circle line as you see with dots. I'm using the spaces between my previous row of dots. And again, the same rule, as close as you can but not touching each other. And remember, you can come back later on and add more paint, so if you want to be careful, be careful. Next row we want to create with another maybe a little bit brighter color, unexpectedly, but it is what it is. We're coming back to coral blush. We created the central dots with, and the same way, you see, I'm placing my dots more in the spaces between my previous dots. And yes, it's bigger, but because circle is bigger, it's kind of working. And again, as close as you can, but not touching each other. And this time, again, I'm placing this a little bit on the top of my next circle line of marks. And yeah, really looks at your sizes and dimensions, because it could be not the same as mine, because we all create in this different way, even if we are working with the same paint. And next row, you see I'm using a little bit bigger tool, and again using the space between my previous dots. And the color I'm using is a coral buzz. It's really bright and more like pinkish. That's why I think that Melon also may work with this palette, because this coral buzz, it's coral with pinkish side. Moving forward, again, we will play with the spaces between dots later on, so don't worry about that. And I decided to go with one more row of bigger dots. Why not? And this time I will use this really deep color, Terra Coral, but it's still giving the really nice, beautiful vibe. One by one, leaving enough paint on your dots, letting you create this really nice big pop out dot at the end. And again, you can come back later with more paint if you want to give it additional volume, or leave it like that, and when everything are out, we can place something else on the top. And with the same tool and the same color, Terra Coral, I want to create base for my flowers. What I'm gonna do, start the line from the edge, and I'm creating on a cross dot, and between my dots, you see I'm passing two lines when I'm moving to the next one. So start circle from the edge and two lines between my dots. And this is base for my future flowers. So if you're worried, you need to let everything dry out. I will move now, but you can wait. And what I'm doing 3 dots like that, really separated from each other. And with thin tool, I'm moving my material, this 3 drop around like that, and create a nice, beautiful base for my flower. All 3 dots should be separated from each other to not mix material. Remember about that. So first 2 close enough to this dot and start on the top and carefully moving our material around. Don't rush. As I said, these dots should be really separated from each other, because material can move, especially in a hot season, and this is really not what you want to make these dots. Sorry for the noise. It's people around me really noisy. And yeah, I'm moving carefully, like so. Don't rush. At this stage, you shouldn't do this, because you can really mix material, and this is what you want to avoid. But you see how beautiful and a little bit unusual that we are usually moving, but really nice, like that. And again, at this stage, you also maybe should consider to wait until everything dry out, because after that we are moving with strokes. And I'm using small brush and white peach color to move around really close to our base, but obviously I'm not touching it. These dots and base dot. And you see I'm leaving some space between the top of my strokes. And with my brush I'm moving like kind of around the base of my flower. This is small mandala and we don't have like too much space to play with, but at the same time we can really create really nice and beautiful piece of art. Why not? And we are moving like that around carefully, don't rush, leave nice amount of paint on the surface. You see, because my brush is small, I'm sometimes coming back to add a little bit more paint on the top of my strokes, like that. So the next one, I will use the same brush, I just wash it, and the color, I decided to go a little bit like classic way, peach and cream. Moving around again, starting on my brush lower, you see maybe a couple of millimeters or even 5 millimeters lower, the top of these white peach strokes. And again, I'm carefully with my brush moving around the base of my flower because I want to create nice surface. At the end, like usually I'm not working with such shapes of flowers, but why not? It's like asking me to do this way, this time, like that. Washing our brush again, and I want to create nice strokes like that, maybe later on, but for now we are still playing with these flowers. We got some space. The color, you see, I'm going inside of these lines you see on a base, and again the similar way, starting a little bit higher than my peach and cream dots. The color is this beautiful bright coral bars again, moving around really careful, and again I want to be pretty careful at the base of my flower also, like that. Pressing, moving, releasing brush at the end. And once we added this bright color, this completely changed our painting. Like that. You can balance your flowers also. And the next one, we still got some space. So, and because I did use already this Terra coral, I don't want to mix tones, so I decided to go with a coral blush again. And I'm using a little bit bigger brush, just show you a little bit longer, not too much, because still not too much space surface for us. As I said, coral blush, starting a little bit higher, closer to the edge of our mandala, and more like playing, you see, between our flowers. And again, base of my flower, I want to create really nice shape. So I'm really careful at the end. Like that, moving step by step. Careful. And I like that I'm saving this space between flowers because it's giving like, I don't know what kind of an effect it's giving, because maybe it's giving like, because it's black color, like giving like deepest, a little bit deep of our painting. It looks really nice. Like that. And yeah, we need to wait until everything dry out to add more details, small strokes at these spaces. So we kind of need to wait a little bit. Yeah, and this space between dots also like asking me to add something. So I'm coming back, everything are out, and now we can add much more details on top. I want to show how you can manage these 3 dots. So I added more paint on the top with the same, obviously, color and the same tool. And you see your dots definitely more popping out from the surface. You can do this with each row, and obviously need to wait when everything dry out. So what I'm gonna do, I wanna add more details on these dots. I'm using the color peach and cream that we did use before. And you see how it's a really interesting trick. So when you are adding dot on the top just with paint, without using 3D drops, with a lighter color, this for your eyes and obviously for everybody else, this will be like more popping out from the surface. This kind of trick we can use. For next row, we obviously will add much more small dots between these dots because it's a lot of space. But for now, I need to wait in my colors, my previous dots dry out that I just did place. So now what I'm gonna do, I can add also more dots on the top of these ones. I'm using, as you did see, Melon. But if you don't have one, you can place, for example, Coral Blush. But with Melon, you see, it's kind of working. It's similarly, like, it's close enough to this palette that we are using. So because I do have this color in my palette, I'm just using it. If you don't have, obviously, as I said, you can use Coral Blush, or if you don't want to purchase this color only because of these small details. So 3 drops later on will be on the top, but let's wait it until everything dry out. But we can place over there small strokes. And the color I'm gonna use Coral Buzz, because it's so bright and beautiful and really small brush. You can technically go with Terra Coral. I just didn't want to because my big dots, last row of dots with Terra Coral also. But this one also working because it's so bright and it's definitely covering this space between flowers. So working perfectly for my opinion. Yes, it's making this color like dominate in our palette, but why not? So if you wanna use another color from this palette, definitely up to you, because as you see, it's kind of giving special vibe to this mandala. You can use even any color from this palette. You can even use white peach and cream, melon. So this, in this case, it will be not so bright, but for me it's so perfectly working, so I'm not regretting. I'm just giving you this explanation so you can play with another colors technically. Yes, and we'll add 3 drops a little bit to play with these strokes also, but for now we need to wait until everything dry out, and only after that I can come back. And also over there I also want to add 3 drops, but again I don't want to mess with painting later on, so I'm waiting. So now I'm coming back, and you see I added more dots on the top, so all my rows now nicely popping out and nicely dried. So I want to add small details between dots. And what I'm gonna do, I want to play with 3D drops in this case because I got some interesting colors. So fruit cocktail, small one over there on the top. Really bright, nice, I like this color. And really small ones, as you see, I'm adding on my third row, like between dots, like on the top of this space between dots. This really small one. So I'm handling this from the bottle, but it's kind of tricky sometimes to do such small dots. So you might place these 3 drops somewhere and place this with the tools. It's possible. Next row, you see again on the top I'm adding with the same color, but this one's a little bit bigger. You see, because a little bit more space, and again it's nicely separating our rows now. Really working. Yeah, technically you can do this even with a paint. For example, you don't have 3 drops, you can go with peach and cream, for example, and small tool. Look how it's working. Yeah, I'm adding a little bit material, so I make all dots similar. Really, it's really working. So again, with the tool you can nicely shape until material fresh. The central one. So this one now. I got this art creation. I know for sure there are even with Nuvo. The name is something with shell. So light one, available colors available in other brands also. And this time I'm literally showing you how I'm doing this. I put some materials on this. This is technically a plastic box from something. I'm leaving such things for these creative moments. And with tools, I'm placing small white pearl dots on these spaces. So this is our 4th row of dots, and I adding small white one below. Because again, in my case, there are enough space for this. Remember about that. If you don't have space, you can't place this. Or you can place technically on 3rd row on the top of the dots if you don't have space. But just in case, I'm telling you. Yeah, over there. And now last row of dots. Let's play with this space. We got nice amount of space, so we kind of can do a lot. What I'm doing, this time from the bottle, I'm placing small dots with again art creation white pearl color, and I'm not doing this too big dots, you see already on the video. And next step, I'm with a needle, really small, you can use small tool obviously. I'm going and doing small tails like that, just to play a little bit with space and like making really nice, like that. Small trick, but you can see result. It's like working. Over there, I also wanna add 3 drops, and I wanna do this with fruit cocktail. Again, if you don't have these 3 drops, you definitely can put a dot with a peach and cream, for example. If you're using 3 drops, dragging material a little bit, making small tails, like that. And again, once we done it, these strokes perfectly working, but absolutely different way. With white pearl dots over there. And yeah, this one, because I got enough space, I'm doing this a little bit bigger dots, but again, look at your dimensions. And with needle or with thin tool, you can do really nice tails like that. And next, what we can do, again, it's my imagination, you can go another way. Over there, because I left some space between strokes, I'm placing small white pearl dots. Obviously, if you didn't left space, so you're not doing this. And from both sides in these spaces, my fruit cocktail color, like that. And yeah, I'm placing all together. And now with a thin tool, or with needle in my case, I'm making nice tails. So this white one goes between the strokes, like that. And after that, these fruit cocktails, I'm going like also going between the strokes, but like going like a little bit around, like our petals in flowers going, like that. Really nice. And on the top of the base of our flowers, I'm adding also like really small ones, but a white pearl. Again, a little bit light color, and it's helping brighten up even more our mandala. So it's ready. Hope you enjoy. This is beautiful palette. Hope you enjoy your painting. Join my channels. Patreon also available with bigger pieces when you can subscribe and support me. And see you next video. Bye.